Martin Luther King, Cesar Chavez, and Jimmy Carter. These men's names have become synonymous with those who selflessly give of their time and efforts to help others. Martin Luther King, the father of civil rights in the 1950s and 60s, famous for his I Have a Dream speech. Cesar Chavez organized the labor movement for the farm workers and founded the United Farm Workers Union. Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States, more recently associated with the Habitat for Humanity. It's an organization that is committed and dedicated to providing affordable homes for those less fortunate citizens of the world. We know their faces. We know their accomplishments. But do we know why they did what they did? What made these men stand up at a particular time and say, I'm going to do this? What gave them the impetus to transcend above all others and move forward with their projects? I studied their actions and their efforts, along with my business experience and my efforts in committing my life to being of service to others. And I've come up with a process of 5 simple steps, but key steps, in empowering us and enabling us to move forward with any ideas that we may have. And I know we all have ideas. So I'm going to share those 5 key elements with you. The first thing is, and excuse me as I look for my Scotch tape. The first thing is, we have to have a bright idea. You have to have a bright idea. Now, that bright idea could be an original idea. It can be an existing idea that somebody else has that you want to improve upon. It can be an existing project or program that you want to be involved in. It could just be that you want to be involved with an organization. You can also use this in order to help yourself in your career, for it to move forward. You can use it in many other personal aspects of your life. You can pick the project and you can follow these easy steps. The next thing that you're going to want to do once you have this bright idea is you're going to want to do something with it. Because if you don't do anything with your bright idea, it's nothing more than a Walter Mitty fantasy. You have to do something with that idea for it to mean something to anybody else other than yourself. So the next step that I found that's important, once you have your bright idea, is you take your bright idea and you document it. Sit down at your computer, do it the old-fashioned way, get out a pen and a paper and write down your bright idea, everything you have about it. Get your thoughts organized. Once you put your bright idea on paper, it takes on a new life. It's no longer a fleeting thought. Now, it's a tangible item that you can read and reread. It's something that you can analyze. It's something that, as your thought processes mature, you can rewrite and you can add to your bright idea. It's a living document now. Once you have this written down and it's all nice and neat and you formulated some logical, thoughtful things on paper, you can take your bright idea, and again, it's a good bright idea now, and it's living because it's on paper, but nobody knows about it except you. So it still isn't helping anyone. So the next thing you have to do is share it. You take your bright idea, and that will happen to some of the bright ideas, but you share it with people. You want to get it out there. You want exposure to your bright idea because now you need some feedback. Feedback is very important when you have an idea, because sometimes ideas that you think are really, really great, they may be, but they need a lot of work. And so you're going to need feedback from other people. Now remember, there's a danger in sharing your bright idea. Not everybody is going to think it's a bright idea. Some people are going to think that it's a silly idea. Now, Don't worry about other people thinking that your ideas are silly. You're in good company. Do you remember the horseless carriage? Flying machines? How about indoor plumbing? Aren't you glad that back in the day somebody had some crazy bright ideas? Okay, so do not be discouraged. Now after you've shared your plan and you've had some feedback and you decide, okay, we're going to do this, I'm going to do this. The next thing that you have to do, you have to develop a plan. It's important to develop a plan so that you have a roadmap in getting to where you want to be. So you get a group of people together if it's appropriate, you get their inputs, and that will enable you to take and consider things like schedules, cost, human resources, and any other types of project management tools that you're going to need in order to move forward with developing your project. This development plan will also give your project credibility. When you go on and you're going to be sharing it with other people and you move into the next phase, it really lends itself to some very credible outcomes. Now the next thing we want to do, we had this bright idea, we documented it, we shared it, we developed a plan, and it's still great, but now there's 5 of us that know about it. That's not going to do a whole lot of good. So what we have to do now is we have to have something that I believe is what these 3 men had, that most of us hesitate. It's the thing that makes a lot of us not do these things, and that's courage. They had to have the courage to stand up, take all of this process, and do this with it. And I guess I'll just put this up here since it's so important. We have to implement our plan. We have a plan, it's a good formidable plan, and it's great. And remember something about implementing your plan and something about life. Life is supposed to be fun. There's a lot of things in life that aren't, but make life fun. And remember that. Enjoy your project, you have a great idea, and remember this also, that plans never ever work out according to the way they were initially written. So be flexible, have a sense of humor, and make sure that you're taking input from other people. I would also like to say that I hope that each of us are fortunate enough in our lives to either inspire a bright idea or work on a team that has a bright idea in order to implement something great within our community. So I challenge each of you to take your own bright ideas, and I know you have them because I've heard many of them in here, to take those bright ideas, to document them, share them, develop a plan, and ultimately implement them. And someday, who knows, in many years from now, somebody will be sitting around using you as an example of what one person with a bright idea can do. Mrs. Toastmaster.